studying in 7 countries. You were in India, Dubai, Switzerland, Singapore, global citizen. Now we're going to talk, as I said, we're going to talk a bit about Dane's upbringing and his career. And Dane, you could probably answer this as well, but how much of a benefit was that partnering with Dane, you bringing that broader insight about maybe what the economy is like around the world and your own experiences abroad? How has that impacted you guys now moving into your partnership and business with Own Financial Planning?
Sure. I might talk to that one, Adil, in terms of how we came together, and then obviously, yeah, you share your version. But it's been it's certainly been fantastic in terms of my aspirations as to what I was trying to build. To have sort of partnered up with Adil. I guess at the time I was involved with another business. Whilst there was sort of the aspiration to create this goals-based financial planning business, it was the main focus was more purely around funds management. And so there started to be sort of a disconnect in the vision there. Coupled with that was a need to have more structure and process built into the business. And so I kind of started to look around and I guess I got a lot more than what I was looking for. If I'm being honest, I was looking for some admin support, fundamentally just admin support initially. And it was at one of the, it was during COVID, and at one of these kind of online networking, speed dating style things that were running at the time. I met Adil, and we kind of clicked really quickly in terms of, it was clear to me that he understood what it was that I was trying to work towards, but he was coming very much from a purist sense in terms of what true goals-based financial planning is. I'd been very much heavily influenced from my funds management background, and it's been a really great experience working together with Adil in terms of evolving the way I've approached advice, but what we do now collectively as a business, centered around sort of starting with the life that people want to create and using investment strategies to help achieve that, rather than focus on our investment strategy is going to perform better than this other one, so you should put your money with us. I mean, it's all well and good to have investments do well, but it's for what purpose that they're working towards that's the most important. Do you want to add to that, Adil?
No, I think that's what you said, Dane, was very interesting over there about the fact that how we kind of came together. Of course, I didn't myself know what I had in a way signed up for by deciding to work with you. So it has been a journey for me as well. But I think to Dane's point, it was very much I found in Dane someone who actually had strengths in areas where I did not have strengths. So for example, the investment management part of it, I understand the importance of having an investment strategy. I understand that clients will anchor into numbers and into performance and stuff like that. So having somebody who can talk to that sort of confidently was important for me, because I knew in my heart that it wasn't the true value of the service I wanted to deliver, but it had to be an essential component of the service. So having a business partner who actually could manage that side of the business was important to me. So Dane was the person I felt, yep, we can. And he understood. He was trying to already build a goals-based advice business. My entire life, as I mentioned at the very beginning, was all around like goals I've always lived my life through goals. I've given myself 5-year milestones, 10-year goals, and things like that. And I've always worked towards achieving them. When I met Dane, essentially, I had been in Australia for 20 years by then. I'm a product of, I would say, goals-based financial planning. I used to work with a financial planner who had a goals approach. And having taken that approach for 20 years after moving to Australia, it gave me choices in my life. And I thought, that is wonderful. It gave me a choice to say, do I still want to be doing the job which I was doing at the time? I was in management consulting. I was doing pretty well, I would say, at that time. I could have continued down that path. But then I was like thinking, if I have a choice in my life, do I want to spend the rest of my life doing what I was doing at the time? So having had that moment of realization, or I would say a moment of realization to say, you know what, as a result of my goals-based financial planning approach, I have now choices in my life to design a life which will allow me to lead my best life. And then I decided to then become a transition to becoming a financial planner myself, and was looking to partner with an individual who kind of shared a similar mindset and approach and wanted to build something as well, which was a different sort of a financial planning value proposition, which is what we are now building at Own Financial Planning, which is about helping people design their best lives.
Yeah, and so Dane, you in your early days, you were quite open about the fact that you were quite pessimistic about wealthy people or the upper class in society. So what caused you to kind of change your mindset or your trajectory towards that goal-based wealth management?
It's really, I don't know, it's really weird sort of looking back and reflecting on it. I grew up in a middle class area, Northern Beaches of Sydney. You know it obviously very well, Hayden. But always felt like we were working class. I came from a working class family, and I guess it was resentment, I guess. The other kids or the other kids had the nice clothes and all that sort of stuff. You look back now and it's very vain or very silly, but it certainly at the time shaped the way I saw the world, and at that time it was like, well, I was born into this life, that's the way it's going to be, and there's no way of getting out of that. Thankfully, I guess in my early adult years, I can't even remember how it could have came about, but I sort of did some personal development courses, and through that, it really sort of changed my outlook on finance, but also just life in general, in terms of if you work towards something, you can achieve it. And it's not just about the goal that you have, it's the process that you need to go through step by step to get there. And some of the early aspirations that came out of that was this very strong desire to build a business and develop sort of that entrepreneurial skill set. So that was the origin of it. I didn't know what it was going to end up being, but I was very passionate about wanting to be building a business rather than working in a salary-based career for the rest of my life. That's kind of where it started. And I guess that the seeds of that have kind of manifested into what we do now in terms of goals-based financial planning, at least from sort of my contribution to it. That Adil talks to himself being a sort of a product of good goals-based financial planning. It's been more of a challenging path for me, certainly, in the sense that I'd say when I advise clients now who has aspirations to start businesses, I'd say first and foremost, get your personal balance sheet right. Build yourself a passive income stream so that when you do embark on this passion to go into business, you're doing it from a solid footing. So you've got a really good runway. You can really apply yourself. And I'd say I went earlier into this world than may have been optimal, but I wouldn't change it. It's been a great experience along the way, but certainly it influences how I advise clients with similar ambitions.